Greg Smith struck his first 50 of the LV County Championship season and then converted that into his 7th first-class 100 to give Essex the edge on the opening day of their must-win match with Gloucestershire in Bristol. Michael Klinger inserted after winning the toss, and Will Gidman bowled Gautam Gambhir off the bottom edge for a duck in the 5th over to give the home side an ideal start. That brought Smith to the wicket early as he joined forces with Jake Mickleborough in what was already an important partnership. Essex, who have a game in hand on the two sides above them in the second division, began this contest at 31 points off the promotion places, and so every point earned was going to be vital to them. In Gareth Roderick, Gloucestershire have found a real talent. He hit an undefeated 152 in his last innings, and he's not too shabby with the gloves either, as Mickleborough was to find out as he went for 26 off late call-up Graham McCarter. Smith has been in and out of the four-day side for Essex this season and has not produced an innings of note until this day. He chose an ideal moment to show off his talents as he picked off each of the home side's 5 seamers, even though he was dropped on 19. Gloucestershire too haven't given up hopes of catching up Northamptonshire in the table, even if they have a little more to do than their opponents here. They then could have done without this kind of stroke play from Smith, who reached his first 50 of the summer shortly after lunch with a single off David Payne. He'd used up 98 balls in getting there, spending some time getting his last couple of runs. 4 fours have been included. He was helped both sides of the interval by O.A. Shah making his return to championship action. From time to time he produced some typically fine shots as he carried the total to 126 against a well-disciplined home attack who gave little away for the most part. Shah had made 34 when he was trapped in front by Craig Miles, who continues to impress in his debut season. He also thought he had Ryan Tenduscarter LBW with his very next delivery. Quite what it was missing, only the umpire would know, unless of course there was a tiny inside edge. Tenduscarter then got a start before he was missed off his own bowling by McCarter, who looked a little sheepish after the drop. That allowed the all-rounder to add 45 quick runs, with Smith as the innings was given some impetus. That was until, on 24, Tenduscarter was another to make a start before getting out, as he nicked behind to Roderick, who held on at the second attempt, standing up to the stumps to Benny Howell. Smith was on 69 at the time, and he patiently moved through the 70s and 80s, helped by a 6 to a ball from Tom Smith, which he didn't manage to get to the pitch of. The former Derbyshire player later cut Howell to the boundary to take him within 3 runs of his 100, which arrived off his 207th delivery with a drive to a wide ball from McCarter, which brought him his 10th 4 to go with his 1-6. It was the first time in 2 years at the club that he scored a championship 100 in Essex colours. Indeed, he'd never struck a 50 for them before in 4-day cricket, so his delight was understandable. The weight had now been lifted from his shoulders and he began to play with a bit more freedom as the day drew towards its conclusion. It had been a very important knock for his team, who'd seen too many make a start before getting out. One of those was Ben Foakes, who made 32 out of a 5th wicket stand of 94 with Smith. The second new ball brought an end to his innings as he edged Will Gidman to Chris Dent at 265 for 5. Smith and Gambhir aside, Essex had lost their batsmen with scores between 24 and 34, which would have been frustrating for them, no doubt, but they now had a chance to end the day strongly with James Foster joining Smith, who by now would have had his career best of 165 not out, made for Derbyshire against Glamorgan in 2010, in his sights. He and Foster took their side past 300 for an important third batting bonus point, but alas, they couldn't see out the day. Foster was the next to go when well set, skying a pull off Payne to Klinger after making 26, while Graham Napier was out to the very last ball of the day, well held low down at slip by Dent off Payne for 10. But Smith was untroubled, and how his side will be delighted with his work. By the close, he'd scored 149 not out of his side's 333 for 7, the next best score being 34. Smith will now have to work hard with the tail on the second morning to see if he can get his side beyond 400 and record his own personal best.